PB by like 9 seconds. I'm just gonna play. I actually gained 0.1 in Citadel. I lost 0.2 in LobTube. But yeah, Geyser. There's not much in Geyser. Bunch of small shit. Most of the time save or time loss is going to be from those first two cells. Those two cells weren't that clean, so I think that's why I'll lose a bit. Losing a bit to gold, that is. Usually I talk about time loss in reference to golds, just because it's more consistent that way. Yeah, right there. I didn't expect the jack would land on the pillar, so I was like holding to the left. So I got like a weird high jump. Wasn't very the lines weren't very clean because of it, but making out a geyser ahead was good enough. In the entirety of the run, geyser time save hardly matters unless you're losing like a second or more. But yeah, slightly below average geyser is fine.
Fine. Adventure away then. And while you're out adventuring, why don't you make yourself useful?
Oh yeah, I could just skip the cutscene, right? Dude, why didn't I think of that? 22 would have been free.
Follow the lamps. They'll take you right there. Now, all of you, get out of here!
Yeah, I think my standover movement was really clean. Standover movement usually is like hidden time save. Oh yeah, that's... Yeah, see the controller thing. The controller that I've been using for like the past year, this like the left stick just kind of it felt it was getting like it was just like getting stuck a lot more. I it just like felt like something's like inside of it that's just it kind of gets stuck, which it used to be like that, just uh mildly, where I was like, able to get used to it. And there's some slight drift when holding it. Uh, there's some slight drift so that Jack walks forward a bit, but that's usually not the worst because it kind of helps you slow walk sometimes when you're doing boosteds. So I could reliably slow walk pretty fast, and as long as uh like you make sure uh for like idles when you want to stand still, you just make sure that it's not drifting up, which luckily hasn't been a problem. It hasn't like made me lose time in any of my runs. So, but then the other day, it kind of just it felt like it got a lot worse. It was like 4 days ago. That's why I didn't really play for like 4 days, just because I didn't want to deal with the controller. I thought it was gonna be like it was gonna like ruin my gameplay or ruin like all the good muscle memory I built. So I like tried switching to this controller I got with my 90K. It was controller I got with my 90K. It feels like brand new, like the sticks feel like they haven't been used, but it felt like I was playing on limited directions and there's a ton of snapback it felt like on the stick, so wasn't uh I wasn't really liking it, and I tried playing with it and my hub ones were just terrible. My movement was really bad with it. So I switched back to this controller, and it actually didn't take me that long to get used to it, and eventually I obviously got this PB with it pretty quickly. after readjusting. And yo, what's up, Morphine? I'm just gonna play. I remember there. It's hard to say if there's a bad split in this run. There might be one or two bad splits, but that's just relative to all the other splits. The other splits are really good. This is one of the really good ones. Hi, Paul. Thanks for sticking around for as long as you could. Have a good sleep. Good tower climb. The cannon. There's some RNG with the cannon. Is you can lose like up to a second. I probably lost almost a second, and then I kind of got stuck a bit punching away from the cannon, so I did lose a bit of time there. If I had a good cannon, I'd probably get like a 41, which is about as good as you can expect on the split to get a 41 on the cell. But I got like a 43, high 42, which definitely not great, but it's acceptable. I guess definitely nothing to reset over. And I could definitely accept bad hub ones when I was going for this, but I didn't want a bad hub one. I just wanted consistently good hub ones, if not like really good hub ones, just to make the PB, or to make the chance of getting the PB, the chance to be like really high if I get lava walk, that I'd make it so I had more room for error. And then if I could just clutch one out, the run I clutched out would be really good. Alright, so this split, there could be the time saving the split can pretty much be determined by birds. If even if you do the movement perfect, birds can make you lose like at least like upwards of like 5 to 10 seconds, depending on how bad RNG you get. But there's a perfect birds I can get, which lets me get to the next cycle fast enough, and it saves the most time. And if I don't get perfect birds, I usually lose at least 2 seconds. So right here, what I want is I'm gonna roll jump onto this ledge, and I want the birds to get scared as I roll jump onto the ledge, so I can immediately punch to the right and make it to the water wheel before the cutscene plays. If I can't scare the birds, then I have to like high jump, or have to like run to like the back or to the left on the sentinel, and I automatically lose like a couple seconds. So right here, getting these perfect birds was pretty huge, considering that the start to this run was not the greatest. But then I get to the cycle. I get to the cycle with the fastest birds. So this right now I'm like on pace with this gold, and this gold is really good, hard to beat. Yeah, quick high jump up there. Get up to that ledge fairly quickly. And yeah, usually the rest of this sentinel should be consistent. Like I shouldn't make any mistakes usually, because nothing is too difficult in the movement, and nothing's too difficult, and there's like no RNG, so it's like all down to how well you're playing. Perfect birds is probably like 10 to 20%. I probably get perfect birds 10 to 20% of the time on average. Some days it seems like I get it like more than half the time, and then some days it seems like I never get it. So that's just what the average I'd place it at. And then if you don't get perfect birds, you can usually get good birds half the time. Then the other half I probably get pretty bad birds and reset sometimes. But yeah, this run is really good, so it's not surprising that I got really good birds. Yeah, the rest of Sentinel is usually the easiest part. Like the first half of Sentinel, and then everything leading up to birds is usually where I'll lose time and reset if it happens. The rest of Sentinel is usually I'm usually pretty consistent at, and I hardly reset to it. See how well this is. Yeah, is it good ground pounds with ledge grabless. And then yeah, I got a 548 Sentinel, which is really good. Sub 550 Sentinels are generally really good, and I don't even need it to be sub 550. That's just I guess that's just how much it shows how much I've grinded Sentinel. That like the average Sentinel in the world record used to be like mid 550s to even probably high 550s when it was like low 24 to high 23, or when the route changed and 23 was done more often. And then like the average Sentinels just slowly got lower and lower. Yeah, but sub 550 is definitely really good. Most of it's because of birds. The good bird RNG saved me like the 2 seconds pretty much. Now this FJ movement is this split right here. It's actually I gotta rewind a bit. This is probably the hardest split in Hub 1, just movement wise. Sentinel, you can lose more time to Sentinel just because of RNG, but these two FJ splits have almost no RNG. There's some slight RNG, but usually you can play around it every time. But yeah, so there's the curved roll jump I do right there to get the orbs. Ideally, I'd get one of those orbs on the way to Sentinel as I get the flies. It's hard to do every time because you're doing the roll jump blind out of Mayor's Hut, but it's kind of whatever. If you miss it, then you just do curved roll jump, which is slower than just doing a direct roll jump to the next just doing a more direct roll jump to the next spot you're going. But yeah, getting this fly, and then one of the most important parts is getting this roll jump high jump into a ledge grabless, which I barely make right there. It's I've been failing that more recently, so it just feels good whenever I don't get the ledge grab. Or it feels worse if you overshoot the high jump spot and you land in the water, because it's just super slow. Then getting good water hops here and preserving your momentum you got from the blue eco is pretty important. I like missed one water hop, but for the most part that was really good. I'm like down maybe a half second to a second off my gold by the time I get the cell. So, and usually I don't save time because I have like 1 second off my gold for my PB. So if you like lose more than 1 second to like perfect movement, then you're losing time. So right now I'm like on pace, but right here I kind of messed up the ground pound on that platform. It was kind of slow, but that's whatever. And then this is like my first real mistake, is I somehow missed the double jump input and ledge grab that, which made me lose a second rather than stay even with my PB. So in Hub 1 that was probably my... It's hard to say because it's definitely a minor mistake, but it's probably the biggest mistake in Hub 1. It was just an extra ledge grab. So yeah, that's probably my worst split in Hub 1 at least. Lost like 2 seconds to gold. I lost a second to PB. Wish I didn't, but that's whatever. A 758 top tower is still really good, as long as it's sub 8. I was pretty happy with top of towers, but so 758 flats is good. And some of this tempo movement's kind of annoying. On that launch pad, if you get a low jump by hitting the side, probably gonna replay that. You get a low jump, which you can tell because I mean Jack just won't go up as high. He'll just like hit hit the side enough so that he won't go up as high, but he'll still get all the orbs, and he'll just fall back down faster because he's lower, and you'll save like a half second, maybe more if versus like the highest jump where you go all the way up to the top. But I think I got like a sort of a low jump, like a half low jump. So I was able to get to the plant boss in just like 56 seconds, which is like a half second slower than I usually go for. But yeah, like all these splits, they got like really minor mistakes, like fractions of seconds, which is usually fine, except for the top of tower split where I lost like 1 to 2 seconds just from sloppy movement. And plant boss, consistent. I got quick bite, which is good. Missing quick bite loses like another second, which kind of sucks. And then this next section of movement, it's pretty tough to do optimally. You got to get the fly. I do a curved roll jump around the pillar, but I curved it too much, so my lines are not as good. And then I have to do a spin on the uppercut to avoid taking damage from the lurker because I'm on 1 health. So I have to spin so that I'll kill him on the way down. So I end up saving 1.5 out of like the 2.5 seconds of time save. So losing 1 to gold is not too bad. So that's a pretty good split overall. And this movement can be tricky. It's pretty precise when you're trying to do it as clean as possible, and I didn't make any mistakes on the way to Oracle, so this hub one's looking really good.
From before time, I have watched and waited for the true hero to return. Present to me 120 precursor orbs for each power cell I contain.
I think my goal was for my hub ones to always be at least on pace with my PB's hub one. The PB's hub one's a 1315, which is yeah, 1315's good, but my best hub one's a 1311, and I know realistically I could get like a sub 1310 if I just didn't choke like FJs, because FJs are like usually the hardest part of hub one. I've had a few that were like close to being able to sub 1310, but then I'd like make one mistake at the end of FJ, and then it kind of just snowball. So 1315 or better is usually what I go for, and I'm on pace for like a 1312. So I'm pretty happy with the sub one. Generally, sub 1320 is good enough for world record, to be honest. Oh yeah. Also, orb count. Orb count is usually tight. You usually every orb is planned for, so if I miss an orb, I'd have to make up for it. Usually there's one orb that you can make up, or one backup orb that doesn't really lose time if you do it right, but it's pretty hard to do it right sometimes. But I didn't even need to go for that backup orb, so it ended up working out. Yeah, so it's really nice not to have to worry about like making up for orbs. Yo, what's up, Isaac? Yeah, and then in Fire Canyon, it's not noticeable if you aren't familiar with the route and like recent strats, but it's important to take some of the shortcuts in Fire Canyon, but not hit any of the lurkers. If you hit any of the lurkers in Fire Canyon on your zoomer, I think especially with the blue eco, it takes away of the green eco you collect from boxes in like Rock Village and Mountain Pass. So the more lurkers you hit, the less green eco you can get in Rock Village and Mountain Pass. And if you hit too many lurkers, which is like 2 or 3 lurkers, then you really don't have enough eco to even collect 50 So you pretty much kill your run if you hit too many lurkers. So that's why I dodge all the lurkers in Rock Village, Fire Canyon, not Rock Village. Then I'm able to pick up 28 eco in Rock Village consistently, and I don't have to wait for any of the boxes. Because if you wait like a second before you break all the boxes, it'll give you a little bit more eco, and you have to break them all at once. That's why we break them all in one punch. Each like group of boxes gives you the most eco. But yeah, the way that I do it gives you consistently 28. If I waited on the last group of boxes before I punched it, I would get 32. Come on. This part is pretty important. Yeah, so if I waited before a split second before punching the last group of boxes, I'd get 32 eco pretty consistently. But 28 is all I need. I'm confident in my zoomer, my my zoomer pathing, even with drunk camp, to get all the crates in Mount Pass. Yeah, so Rock Village was clean split, I think. Yeah, nothing went wrong in Rock Village. I saved, yeah, 0.5. That's good. Then obviously this is probably the hardest trick in the run right here. Just yeah, getting the roll jump on this and setting up this boosted. That boosted's the hardest part. And then what I like to zoom walk into the lava walk, just because it lets me hit the lava walk in the right spot every time. Whenever I wouldn't zoom walk, I would always ledge grab too far left, and it kills you if you ledge grab too far left. And then I made it up. I made it up without a ledge grab, which is really good because that doesn't happen all the time. So yeah, I saved a second on that split, which is really good. And then yeah, once I got lava walk with a 13-12 hub one and everything else was going good, and I got pretty nervous for this. But I get all those crates, which I can miss one crate and still have enough health to make 50. So I didn't even end up hitting. I didn't mess up hitting those crates. That turn was really scary because my line off the ramp was different than normal, and then my turn was different, so I ended up bumping into a tree. Luckily I didn't bonk. I was pretty scared when that happened though. Then I hit the group of 4 eco crates, brings you up to 48. So as long as you don't miss those crates, you're pretty safe, because there's 2 crates at the end that give you 2 each, and I only need 1 of the 2, which is how I plan on it. And then yeah, I kind of was bumping into things. And then I kind of modified how much I'd slow down, because because if you're familiar with any of the runs, you know you have to slow down so you don't get too far ahead of the lurkers in Mountain Pass. And since I already had like a shaky Mountain Pass, the amount I needed to slow down was like not much at all. So I really didn't slow down much. I just look at my timer, and I probably waited a bit too long. That's just because I got on the zoomer like a tad slow anyways. So I didn't trust the timer. I didn't trust the timer in the first place because I started the zoomer like a bit slow anyways, which in retrospect shouldn't matter either, because the time you get on the zoomer shouldn't matter, since the lurkers don't wait for you to get on the zoomer. The lurkers kind of start the race immediately. So looking back, I probably didn't need to do that, but if I slow down a half second for safety, I'll take that just to make sure I don't go too fast. So half second's not too bad. And that's like my biggest time save in the whole run, is 7 seconds on Mountain Pass, and I pretty much got most of it. I got 6.5 seconds, so I ended up minus 10, which is about as good as I'd expect. It's about it's pretty much like the best pace I could hope for after Mountain Pass. But the next, yeah, the Mountain Pass was pretty scary. Both the cave section and first section, I was like bumping into things. was lucky I didn't bonk lose my eco on the turn, but I kind of got lucky, but I don't know. If you, I practiced Mount Pass enough. I hadn't messed it up in a while, so I wasn't really expecting to, so that's not really what I was nervous about. Then these next, pretty much every split after this is almost a gold in my PB, except for Final Boss. So, uh, being able to keep up with my PB with like the rest of the splits was pretty hard. And I think this next split was probably my weakest split in the whole run. But it honestly it didn't even have like like real mistakes. They were just small mistakes, like my camera there. My camera was backwards, so I kind of got uppercutted up the ledge pretty slow. So that lost like a fraction of a second. Right here I do the boosts kind of a bit slow, just 'cause it's hard to do boosts fast when you're like, when your hands are sweating a bit. Right, so I lost time to both minecarts being in the way from me having the best movement. And then this, on the way to Rocket, or after Rocket, I'm just gonna rewind. So yeah, there's a few things that just add up here. They all happen pretty fast. So yeah, barely slow movement going here. And normally I'll land on the back rail and do a punch before the boosted off of this next rock. So this minecart made me have to go around it, and then I had to jump over the rail instead of punch over the rail. So I lost a little bit of time from having to jump instead of punch. And then this minecart blocked me a bit. Then I kind of took my time there. Then I got Rocket's second try, which lost me like another second. And then right here, my uppercut was slightly off angle, so I didn't trust. Normally I just land on the rock from the uppercut. I didn't trust it because I was off angle, so I did a spin to make sure I landed on that rock, so I lost a little bit of time from there. So in total I lost 3.5 seconds from like all the tiny little mistakes. And most of the mistakes seemed negligible, they just added up. The split was like pretty perfect. Yeah, that split was pretty much perfect. It was pretty much a gold in my PB. The only reason why it's not a gold is because the gold I have like does rail boosted and goes around a crater in a different way, but those rail boosteds in like the minecart cycles makes the split like insanely hard. So I don't go for it because it's not worth it. Alright, so LTS, I gotta keep up with the 112 LTS to stay even with my PB, which is not hard. First thing on the bypass, I got a good bypass, but I didn't get it ledge grabless, so I lost a second to my gold. I lost a second to my mid 110 gold, which is pretty perfect. Like, I can't expect for a better gold. Then right here, I opt out of this roll jump. There's a roll jump you can do after the bridge boosted, instead of like the punch. I think I'm usually the only one that goes to this roll jump and runs. It'd be right here. I could roll jump to the next spot, but it's a very precise roll jump. I've already lost like one run to it in this category on a similar pace, and I just didn't want to risk it this time, so I took the second time loss by just punching over, and yeah, it just makes the roll jump a lot easier. But I do lose a second from that. And then Skyfly boosted. I do the spin just because it just gives me a sense of safety, even though I probably didn't need to spin. Yeah, I ended up with like a 112.9 LTS, which is good enough. If I did the roll jump, I could have got a 111. But I didn't need a 111 LTS, so I played it a tad safe. Then, I'm not standing in the rock, but you don't need to stand in the rock for LTS to work. You just have to be like just close enough. Yeah, 6 seconds ahead. It's a really good pace. It's not like guaranteed that I get the 22 even minus 6 even 6 ahead. Just because you can miss buffers in 1 frames and it'll lose you a lot. So lava tube, I'm pretty much just hoping that I didn't miss oranges, and I didn't miss any oranges in lava tube, so I knew I wouldn't lose more than like 0.1 or 2 seconds. Or I honestly could have seen me losing like a half second, but I only lost like 0.2, so lava tube was fine. I had one run where I like missed an orange, had to like kind of turn around for it, and I lost like 3 seconds to lava tube. So it's pretty stupid, but it can happen. Pretty good dark eco crate cycles. I had some good lines to the end. Yeah, lost 0.2, which is definitely fine. So now these 2 pause buffers are like pretty important. I had a good roll jump and a pretty fast death there. And obviously I didn't miss a buffer. Missing a buffer here just makes the pressure on final boss a lot worse, because then you pretty much have to get 1 frames. And I got that buffer. So, and then I gold this by like 0.1. Yeah, so at this point, if I went for every 1 frame and I missed every 1 frame, I would lose at least 5 seconds, probably 6. Yeah, I'd probably lose like 5 to 7 seconds if I went for every 1 frame and missed it, which would make me lose all my time, and I'd end up with like a tied PB or a 1 second PB. So it definitely wasn't even guaranteed at this point, because yeah, you lose like 10 seconds to gold if you go for every 1 frame and miss it. So I knew I wanted to get at least 1 frame to feel safe enough that I would get the 22. So I was still pretty nervous at this point. But that's expected anyways. Then I think I did this death a tad slow just to make sure, because I have missed this death warp, and that pretty much kills the whole run, loses you 10 seconds. So I made sure the death warp worked, which is fine. I could have just not went for this 1 frame, because this is the only one you lose time to, really. But I went for it and got it. So at this point, I pretty much guaranteed the 22 with that 1 frame, even if I missed the next 2, as long as I like do the phases cleanly. So I was just really focused on doing these phases cleanly, which didn't start off that great, because I ended up like missing these guys on some of my shots. It shouldn't lose you time, because it only loses you time if there's 3 of them at once, because they can't spawn when there's 3. And then I missed this 1 frame, which was fine. Yeah, that 1 frame saves the least amount of time, and generally going for it doesn't lose you time over not going for it, or going for it and missing it doesn't lose you time over not going for it. And then this phase was good. I got here ahead of time, and I got this 1 frame. This 1 frame saves like 4 to 5, so if I missed it, my time would have probably been a 58 or 59. So like I said, hitting the first 1 frame pretty much guaranteed I got the 22. So if I missed the next 2, I would have got like a 58 or 59. Then I got the last one also. No, I went 2 for 3 now. I didn't go 3 for 3. How's it 3 for 3 though?
That could be the stuff that changed me back. Or Let's stop that robot.
Oh.
Stay fuzzy. Save the world. Choices. Okay, fine. We'll save the world. But do it quickly before I change my mind.
2 for 2, yeah. And then the spawn doesn't matter. Just spawn didn't matter for the 22. I got a really good spawn. Split late because I was focusing on the eco, not the split. I ended up like missing my spacebar, but whatever. 3 times to 53, and then yeah, it was not many mistakes. Yeah, thanks for the GGs. It was like, oops. Yeah, the end game was pretty. Yeah, it was just first try. I was able to. Don't mind the pausing with the splicing. Definitely wasn't recorded run. Yeah, I'm gonna go for any percent at least for just because my PB is very bad relative to all my other PBs. I mean, it's like my PB is like 2 minutes off a record, just and it's the shortest category, so that's kind of crazy. I just need to fix that. But looking at my splits, oh yeah, one more thing. Yeah, so my best possible time after my weeks of grinding this category got down to 22:35, which is pretty good. Like every split is really good. I couldn't really there wasn't a single split where I was waiting for like another gold. Like I didn't expect a gold any more splits. So 22:35 is really good. And my PV is a 53, so I'm 18 seconds off, which honestly being 18 seconds off a really clean summer best like sounds really good. It's cuz it is. It's like the best run I've ever completed. It's like such little mistakes. The mistakes were very minor. Some of it was because I played safe anyways. Some of it was because I missed a one frame in Final Boss, which is better than missing more than one frame. Didn't miss a buffer. Hub 1 was a second slower than my best Hub 1 I've ever had. Lava Walk was clean. Uh, Mountain Pass was a bit shaky. I lost like a second to gold. It's fine. Like Rocket, I lost like 3 seconds too, so I guess that was my worst split, but it wasn't even like that many mistakes. The split was just was too good. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of that record I set. Probably my best time on the board, so yeah, pretty happy with that.